Welcome, everyone, to today's broadcast of Kingdom Keys to Business Success. I'm so excited to introduce to a power couple here that's going to be speaking today. Bobby and Shelly Guinea are founders of Limitless Vitality Group, a personal and professional consulting company helping high-level leaders rebuild thriving lives, specifically after sacrificing them, for business. So with 23 years of marriage, high five to you guys, and 4 children, 7 businesses built, they know firsthand the pressures of entrepreneurship and how that just impacts your health and your marriage and your connections with others. So they have, through their 6 core principles of relational leadership, it's rooted in your mind, body, and soul. They guide CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs to restore vitality, deepen their relationships, and lead from wholeness. So we are so excited to have this power couple with us today. Thank you so much, Bobby and Shelly, for being here.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you
really
very much.
excited.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we would just love to start with maybe your story on how God brought you into entrepreneurship. I don't know, maybe you can each tell your personal journey with God in the beginning and then kind of how you came together to make this magnificent business that you have.
Okay. So I started out, so Bobby and I actually met when we were working in Walmart together. We were just kids, 19 and 17. And so I was going through high school and then college to be an elementary and special ed education teacher. So
Oh,
I
nice.
taught, yes, for 10
Mhm.
years at a little school out in Sullivan here. And, we had worked together and decided that, we were going to be together and kind of
Wow.
life happened. Yes. So go
Well,
ahead.
I like to think that it wasn't all intentional, but I do believe that there was a lot of intentionality in the way that our relationship developed. And so a lot of that had to do with her upbringing. I did not have a very faith-based raising. Not that we didn't believe in God, but we didn't go to church, we didn't pray, we didn't do those kind of things. She, on the other hand, was raised in the Catholic Church.
Right.
So
Mm.
from her
Yeah.
schooling to every Sunday to whatever they were raised with that moral foundation that I didn't have. And so her and her family kind of taught me why that was important.
Yeah.
So, like, take for instance, when we had first started dating, when we started realizing we were really serious about it and maybe there was going to be an engagement, she refused to move in until after we were married,
Yeah.
which I
Uh,
appreciated. Later on, you understand why that's important, but
It was also as a teacher and stuff for me because I did want to be a good role model and stuff for my kids. And
yeah.
that was how I was
and
raised.
I know
Yeah.
not everybody is following that, and that's completely
Yeah.
fine. That's not what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. What I'm trying to say is there's these little steps along the way. And then take, for instance, after we did get married and we moved in together, which we had bought a house a year before we got married. So I lived in the house by myself.
Mhm.
And we decided to spend 2 years pouring into each other before we decided to have children.
Yeah, that's
Because,
good. Yeah.
yeah, because even after we had spent 8 years together, we figured married life's way different when you're sharing a space together, when you're
Right.
doing all that. And there could be some discrepancies. We're growing up, we're getting older. She had her career path at the time I was going through business management, so I had my career path,
Mhm.
and we didn't know how that was going to look if we introduced children.
Yeah.
So,
And we just wanted our time together because you
Yeah.
do grow and
Mhm.
change and you're building a house and a future and you don't get that time back,
right,
Right. You really
right.
don't. And things get harder when you have children.
Yes.
And so,
So,
yeah.
and it really does. And people say harder, it complicates things
Yeah.
because your priorities change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
really truly do. And for those of you that aren't parents, if you ever become one, you'll get it. But I can promise you, I was one of those people that was like, just relax, people. Like they're kids. I get it. You love them. So then I had kids, and I'm like, no, really, like you become that passionate about them.
Right. It's
So,
hard too, just to chime in and
yeah,
this is why it's beautiful what you do is because especially for entrepreneurs because you're so driven by the love of working and helping people and serving, you have to completely change things and shut that a big part of that down a little bit and not serve as much as possible. So it really impacts your
Yeah.
life and business, especially for entrepreneurs.
And
Yeah.
especially in business, you don't get
Yeah.
to move as quickly because I
Yeah.
mean that changes the trajectory of your
Oh
business
yeah.
and the
Hmm.
timeline that you
oh,
might have had.
Yeah.
dramatically. I mean, I know
Yeah.
people that have went from literally prison to multimillionaires in less than 10 years because all they had was them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like
Oh yeah.
that time horizon changes when
Yeah.
you have children. It's not to say it won't happen. It's just saying if you want to make both of them fruitful, you have to integrate them And we
Yeah.
understand that very, very well. We understand, like I
Yeah.
said, it pushes that time horizon out, but we understood that if we wanted to have both these and we wanted them, because the time you don't get back, and your kids are only children and small
Yeah.
once,
For a little
right?
bit. Yeah.
And every year that goes by is another year you lose. So what happens is you see people go, we'll get to it, we'll get to it, we'll get to it. Next thing you know, your kids are sub-adults and they don't really want anything to do with you because you kind of weren't there for them when they needed you.
Yeah.
So
We do really bring them along on the journey.
very much so.
Yeah.
So,
That's
so
great.
to condense that timeline down a little bit, we had got an opportunity. Uh, we got an opportunity while she was teaching still, and I was working, going through college. I was working for a heavy equipment rental company, and he was actually helping put me through college. And I thought that I would get my degree and I would run one of his companies that he was opening up another branch. Got the opportunity through an odd conversation that I would really honestly say was nothing more than divine intervention
Mhm.
because the only thing we ever prayed for was opportunity. Like so when we would do our prayers, it would be opportunity. We never asked for things, never asked for something to fall in my lap, but give me an opportunity and show me the
Yeah.
clarity to let me know that this is an opportunity we need to
Mhm.
explore.
Mhm.
Then that would present itself, and her and I would have those conversations, and then we would decide if we were going to take those risks. And we did. And fast forward 15 years later, and it's just grown. I mean, we've built 6 companies,
Yeah.
um, several of them over 7 figures. We've got 4 children now. Um, it's just, and I believe that our relationship is closer today than it was 15 plus years ago. And just to clarify, we've not been married for 23 years. We've been together for
Yes, yeah.
23
Ah,
years. Just
yes.
because I don't want
Yeah.
people to be like, oh, they've been married 23 years. But we've been married for 18.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but nevertheless, spending that time together
Right.
is crucial to get to know each other because you grow and you grow one of two ways. You either grow together or you grow apart, but
Right.
you're going to grow. It's going to happen,
Yeah.
especially when you get together that young.
Right.
And so we work with people from that age all the way up to the age where, they didn't see that coming a long enough ago and too much damage was done.
Yeah.
When we talk about the sacrifice, the problem is there's a misconception that you have to sacrifice. And I guess depending on what you consider sacrificing would dictate what that really truly is. Because for me, I don't ever feel like I sacrificed anything. I just had to forego things or I had to back
Yeah.
burner them or I had to postpone them, but I never sacrificed them because if you prioritize the things in your life that are important, you're not giving anything up. You're just putting something in front of something else. And so if my family was more important to me than success or numbers in the bank, then I had to postpone that a little bit so that I could be there and be present for my family.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, we show people how to integrate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Finding that balance. What do you feel like is one of the most challenging things that entrepreneurs come up against when they are trying to create and run a business but have family? Is it like just time management or is it that they're overworking? Like, what are some of the struggles that you see come up the most?
For us, when we were starting out, it was the time because Bobby wasn't here as much,
Yeah.
and different things were happening. We were then having birthdays, and you were having holidays and stuff like that, and he was starting to miss those things. And so in the beginning, we would be disappointed that he couldn't make it, and the
Yeah.
kids didn't understand. Well, you get to where we weren't disappointed anymore. I'm just going to go, and we're just going to do. And if
Yeah.
Bobby is driving a truck and he's an hour and a half away, I'm going to meet him. We're going to meet him. We're going to go have dinner together. You know what I mean? I found out where a lot of malls are because you could go, the kids could run around, we could all eat together, and it didn't have to be,
I had plenty of parking.
yeah, we made it
You
fun
made
for
it work.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, because we needed that time. The kids needed that time. It gave him a little bit of break, but it wasn't always so much pressure. You've got to get home. We're sitting here waiting for you. I'm going to come to you.
That's a
You know what I
great
mean?
idea. Yeah, that's
He
great.
did. And I did
So
at the
yeah.
time I wasn't thinking about it. I would just go
Yeah.
and do.
Yeah. Coming up with good creative solutions of, all right,
Yes.
we got to make this work
Yes.
somehow. Yeah.
And keep it fun. Keep it light. It always doesn't have to be so serious.
I would say and that's for us, and this
Yeah.
leads into what we see with a lot of people. They don't have a shared vision. They
Mm.
don't sit down and
Yeah.
discuss a shared
Sure.
vision. Like, what do you want
Yeah.
life to look like? What do you strive for? What do you want to achieve?
Mhm.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah.
What is your time horizon for that? Like, when do you think you're going to accomplish this? If you're going to have children, when are we going to incorporate that? And if we
Mhm.
do, how are we going to build time in for that? Because it's
Yeah.
important to us, right? And so a shared vision, I would say, is probably key number one that people don't communicate. What happens is life happens
Yeah.
and they just do life. But life is heavy sometimes. Once it becomes entangled and heavy, they then are sitting there with a mess. They're trying to figure out how to
Undo.
undo. When you would have just built a shared vision, one of two things could have happened in the beginning of that. One, either you two could have figured out a way to put that shared vision together and how you're going to prioritize and structure that so that you can achieve it. Or two, you're going to realize you're with the wrong person,
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart.
which is a hard conversation to have. But when you talk about sacrifice, that's the true sacrifice because people are like, well, you only get to live once. You die once. We live every day. So I mean, you
Yeah.
really have got to figure out what you want to do and what you want that to look like. And you guys need to be on the same page from day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up because that is so huge. And actually, it's perfect timing because I literally was just hearing somebody else talk about for women how important that is, especially women who are working or taking care of the family and at home with their kids. Because if they don't see any vision of why their husbands may be working so hard or where they're going, that's just when they start being like, this isn't working for me anymore. They just don't have that hope or that trust in that partnership. So I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that is actually very, very important for
Mhm.
And the
couples.
easiest
Yeah.
way to do that's through communication. People just don't
Yeah.
talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have your agenda and I have mine, and I'm moving and you're moving, and the next thing we know, we feel this friction, and we're like you said, then women are like, it just doesn't work for me. But if I would have talked to you and told you what I was doing and why I was doing it, either you could have seen what I was doing and helped me, or you could have been like, that's not what I want. I don't want that out of
Yeah.
life,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Because everybody has a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different
And
dynamic.
we've learned to be pretty transparent with each other to where there aren't really any secrets. I know what's going on in the businesses. He knows what's going on with the family. We know everything that's going on in both realms to where we can help each other out too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's not always
Yeah.
one-sided.
And that's
Yeah.
that's the key to it. Leveraging each other to mitigate the stress, leveraging each other to mitigate the complexities of making the decisions. The decisions don't have to always just be on your shoulders. Two minds are better than one,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her perspective's completely different than mine.
Because then too, if you feel like I let you make those decisions and it's wrong, then I've got somebody to blame. And that's not
Mhm.
good either because that's going to cause big problems in your relationship also.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so
So we
true.
don't do that. When we commit 100%, which means doesn't matter if it was your opinion or your decision or my opinion or my decision. If we both say we're going to do it, then we're 100% committed to helping the other person succeed, no matter
Mhm.
whose vision it was. Which means if the boat goes down, we both take responsibility. If it succeeds, we
Yeah.
both bask in the glory, you know?
Yeah, that's great. That feels like it just creates such a strong bond between you because you're
Mhm.
working together towards your that vision instead of, two people trying to do their own thing. I would love for you to speak a little bit more about that because some couples, they can work together and some couples don't. They're doing their own thing, but we know that God definitely sees the marriage as this opportunity to be a powerhouse and really make things happen. And what are you guys' thoughts about that? Do you feel like couples should be working together, or how can they support each other if they don't really want to have the same business, but both want to have businesses?
Go ahead. Start.
So that's a multifaceted
Yeah.
question, but I'll
Yeah.
start from the basis of what I have seen and what we have discovered. So there's people that work together. There's couplepreneurs, as we call them.
Yeah.
Those are people that literally work in the businesses together. But anybody, one side or the other, that's in business, you're both in business together. So rather you're like, no, that's his thing or that's her thing, and I just do my thing. The stress that I carry carries into my family, carries into my conversations, carries into my day to day. The decisions that have to be made, I guess the magnitude sometimes of the responsibility is shared. That weight and that decision making shared. Rather, I'm calling the shot or she's calling it. So for me, it's like if one person would want to do it and the other one didn't, you would have to understand how can I complement and support them in the way that I do it. If the man
Yeah.
wants to be the breadwinner and he wants to be the entrepreneur, and the woman's like, listen, I want to just take care of the household. I want to make sure that Everything's taken care of you for you over here.
Mhm.
There's women that do their laundry and they press their clothes and they put everything up and they cook dinner and they take care of the children. They make sure that the house is a peaceful place for him to come back to. Not everybody operates that way. I will tell you that our household doesn't work that way. Our household's a little bit more 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
She takes care of the kids and she takes care of
Scheduling.
scheduling and all
Yeah.
that. But when I come home, I don't just say, well, I worked all day. That's
Right.
your job.
Right.
I pick things up. I do homework with the kids because I want to spend
Yeah.
time with my kids. And that's when I
Yeah.
get that time sometimes. So if it's like we got to get them ready for bed, so figuring out your dynamic as to how you can support each other, no matter what your place is in your relationship,
Mhm.
is probably
Yeah.
the most important part. If one of you are both, now, if both of you are in, that does complicate things because some are in different businesses
Yeah.
and they have to figure out how to turn that on and turn that off because as entrepreneurs, it's really hard to turn it off.
Now, but
Yeah.
when we do work, because we do work together, we kind of have our lanes too, where this is the lane that I kind of specialize in. So if this kind of
Yeah.
question or this situation arises, I'm going to take care of that. I might be texting him on the backside, this is what I'm doing, so you know. But we kind of have our lane to where people know who
Yeah.
they're supposed to be contacting, where they're supposed to be going for that information.
Not a lot because it was just a deviation of roles within our businesses and within our life. I mean, we understand the roles that we have as husband and wife, but we understand the roles we
Right.
have within our businesses. We literally label them. We literally put down these are the responsibilities and the roles that you are going to handle these type of questions from these people. This is your people to work with in this company. These are my people to work with in this company. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to campaigning, when it comes to whatever we're doing, there's definitely different roles. And it's to the point now where when that comes across, because a lot of us were on joint text
Yeah.
messaging or joint
Email.
conversations,
Yeah.
she just knows that's the thing she answers. And I just know this is the one that I answer. And like she said, we might be on the backside like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I just want to run it through you. What do you think? Like, what's your perspective on it? We
Right.
love bouncing our perspective off each other. And so I think that that's really, really important in that so that you both
Yeah.
can, figure out how to work together.
Yeah.
It's such a case by case basis. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reason it is
Mhm.
because everybody's backgrounds are so different. And
Yeah.
so like triggers are different and like because some women don't like men that are too overbearing and some men are very overbearing. And then there's other that are a little bit too passive and they're not assertive enough. And so it's this weird like getting to understand what everybody's about on both sides to where you can find where that disconnect is so that you can figure out either how to repair, shift, or what's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
way you're doing it's just not going to work for these reasons.
And I think too, it also takes a lot of trust. You trust that I'm going to make
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
best decisions. You're going to make the best decisions. We're here for the
Yeah. It's
family.
so
We're here
true.
for our
Yeah.
business, and we're here for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really great. I mean, you guys have created so many businesses. It sounds like it would be challenging to some degree of like, did you always just, yeah, sure, great, be on the same page about everything? Or were there times where it was like, this
Oh,
isn't good? And how did you handle that?
a
So
lot of work throughs. I mean, a lot of talking it out, a lot of conversations, a lot of questions. We don't just jump into business lightly by no means.
Yeah.
if we've started, and I said six, it's actually seven now. But if we've started seven, we've probably turned down 12.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, like in the original, when it came to the trucking company, that was the first one. I was already teaching. He was given this opportunity at dinner. Somebody said, we're looking for this guy to run this, to start with the truck. Would you be
Yeah.
interested? And I'm like, we were young. I'm like, what do you have to lose? Sometimes you have to take the risk and the little bit of
Yeah.
challenge and try it. Doesn't work
Yeah.
out, you can go back to doing what you were doing before. But if it does, sky is the limit. So sometimes it's taking that little bit of risk.
I was blessed with one thing in my wheelhouse, and that was that I was confident in what I knew. What I knew that I could do, I was very confident in. And being that opportunity was directly related to that, I knew that I wouldn't fail me. And since I knew I wouldn't fail me, I knew I wouldn't fail them.
Right.
And when you talk about that risk, you have to have that conversation, but ultimately, like you have to be able to stomach that as well. Like, can you handle that amount of pressure? Can you? She said, she's like, what's the worst thing? This is how supportiveness can go. She said, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You have a CDL. You were driving a truck for somebody else before this. They can't take your CDL away. Just go back to driving a truck. If you fail,
Yeah.
you Jeremy taught me something. good friend of ours, Jeremy and Stephanie Howe. Jeremy said you got lessons and you have blessings. And really, when you start to
Mm-hmm.
view things
Yeah.
that way, we don't lose, we don't fail, we just learn. It
Right.
either we either succeeded or we learned. And when
Yeah.
you start to look at things that way, and you don't ever look at failure as defeat, but you look at it as where is the lesson here so that I don't
Yeah.
replicate it, it changes the whole way that you attack the next thing. You're almost excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good that you have your partner to help encourage you and be that strength behind you, like cheering you on.
And
And I think
also
that's really
question things
important.
to make sure you're sure of
We we call them spirited debates.
yeah, we love a debate.
We love a spirited debate.
That's great. That's so good. Man, I have so many questions. I love this conversation. So how do you guys um spend okay, you work together, so you're obviously doing lots of work, but how do you make sure your marriage stays strong too outside of work? I mean, you're good at conversations and stuff, but how do you make sure that you're spending that time with each other too and, getting that balance in?
We do schedule a lot of date nights. So a lot of
Yeah.
Fridays, Saturdays, I'll just make dinner reservations. We'll go something as simple as going to a movie. It doesn't always have to be big, elaborate date nights. Keep it simple sometimes, have fun with it. Also, we do a lot of things with the kids. You know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah.
days are planned with the kids, pumpkin patches and Christmas
Yeah.
parties and stuff like that. But you kind of keep it spicy and light. And a big thing for us too is Bobby I'll just bring up, this is going on in the world. What are your thoughts on it? You know what I mean? So we get different views and different
Conversation.
opinions, start different conversations just to kind of see
Um,
where that leads.
yeah.
It really starts with intentionality. You have to be intentional
Yeah.
about it. I think
Yeah.
people let life happen to them instead of creating it. And that is a huge problem for us. A huge problem is we wait to see what's going to happen. And then how are we going to react to that? We're not proactive. The reason that our relationship has grown instead of either stagnated or decreased is because we're intentional about the time we're spending
Yeah.
together, quality time. And that's the problem too, is it's like we work together. I seen you all day. Well, I understand we're going to wind that back and now
Um,
we're going to spend a connectivity, quality, like husband wife time, not coworkers. Because when
yeah.
we're working, we're working. There's not
Yeah.
like lovey-dovey while we're working. This is what's going on. We're getting things done. And so if you seen us work together, you would see that we had a connection, but you wouldn't see that we're like overly affectionate while we're working
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
just learned that you don't do that in business. In business, when
Yeah.
you're when you're in that role and you're around your people, that you have to play your role.
But we've always had that kind of connection to where we are drawn to each other and stuff like that. So the best comes out of us when we are working together. And we've gotten to where if we're not around each other quite a bit, we start to get kind of snippy and stuff.
That
Like
costs.
we
Yeah.
need that connection.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important. So, man, like I said, I could just keep asking you couple questions. But
You're
I do
fine.
want to kind of know how you mix God into the equation too, now that you do have a relationship with God, and what part does he play in your business or how or even your day-to-day routines that to make sure that you're also making that commitment and checking in with God too.
Yeah. So, for us, that's also an intentional part of our life.
Mhm.
So, part of our core basis that we teach people, one of those core principles is faith. And we strongly believe that you have to have faith in every aspect of your life. Like you have to believe in something, right? And like I mentioned earlier about praying for opportunity, we do go to church. Our kids do go to Catholic school. Not that that's the end all be all, but we wanted them to have the moral basis
Yeah. Yeah.
to live life with
Yeah.
a compass that will help them be productive members of society and good humans.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot of just disruption in the world right now that's like
Yeah.
social media is raising our kids and the people that we wouldn't want to influence our kids are influencing our kids. And so we wanted to make sure that they had a
Yeah.
healthy fear of God and a healthy
Mhm.
understanding of love and a healthy understanding of right from wrong so that they can make proper decisions in life.
Yeah.
Guided by us, they at least had that understanding, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's making sure we have time for prayer. We have reserved space in our hearts for hearing Him when we ask,
Mhm.
and that we pour into each other in a faith-based sense that like I treat her with the respect and the love and the caring and stuff that you should a woman by biblical standards or by just moral standards. You know what I mean? And I don't disrespect her in a way that would be frowned upon or like I hold a space for her in that sense. I don't know exactly how to explain that. That it's it's just out of respect and love from that side of my heart, from the side that was shown to me when I asked for that grace. So
Yeah.
that was given to me,
Yeah.
and I pour that into her, and I pour that into my children because I feel like that's where a lot of growth comes from. Giving people that space to
Yeah.
be seen and heard and felt and loved is where they then open up and grow back, you know? And so
Yeah.
I feel like she gives me the same level of respect. There was actually an instance where communication wise, our life kind of shifted because things were chaotic and I had a very short temper to where like I would just kind of like blow up with my words. Like my temper would just get the best of me. And one time I was talking to her because it's easy to attack somebody when they go on the attack. You just attack back, you go in defense. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And I told her one day, I was like, like the problem is that like I have an issue and I instead of you just being there for me, I feel like you're just like you feel attacked, so you attack me back. And
Yeah.
I wish you would
Mhm.
just be there for me. The
Yeah.
next time something happened, I came in, it was crazy, and I kind of blew up in the kitchen. And it wasn't at her. I was just mad at all the stuff that was going on. And she spins around and she looks at me, and I'm waiting for it. Like, here it comes, right?
Yeah.
And she says, how can I help you? How can I help you? Like, what can I do to take some of this weight off your shoulders? I just lost it. I was like, just help me, you know?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it changed a lot for us. It really did. That was a
Yeah.
turning point
Yeah.
for us in
So good.
communication. Huge
Yeah.
turning point.
Yeah.
And
Those
and
little
I think
things.
that's where that comes from. That
Yeah.
comes from inviting that into your heart and surrendering to his will. You know what I mean? I just don't think enough people know him. And when you don't know him, then you don't know what you're missing.
And you don't realize that he has put a plan in place for you until you look back and now you've seen the journey.
Yeah.
And you're like, there he was. There he was.
Yeah.
There he
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so
Crazy.
appreciate you telling that story because things like that happen so much. I mean, in relationships and in business because it's stressful. It's hard. We all
Oh,
can get
good.
triggered. We all can have issues with anger or any, anxiety, all those emotions. And to be able to sometimes God right there can take it from you, but sometimes it is your partner is the one that God will work through to help
Mhm.
you overcome those issues too. Because most of the time we have them is because we feel alone. At some point in time we did. And then, but your partner is there to kind of heal those wounds through that relationship together, as you guys know. So that's a beautiful story of just like working together to help heal each other so that you can be the best,
Yeah.
people that you can be. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it definitely shifted a lot of the way that we communicate and we interact with each other because I wasn't being very intentional about the way that I was representing myself to her. And so what I was putting out is what I was getting back. And so
Yeah.
I realized the ability to influence situations was very, very important. So if I wasn't being self-governing myself, if I wasn't being the thermostat, then I was just being a thermometer. And so I was just creating the problem. Like I was the problem, right? And
Yeah.
that's really hard for people. It's really hard for people to be like, but I asked for that. I asked for the clarity. I prayed for the guidance. I prayed for all that. And through that, what I got was, hey, guess what? He's right there in the mirror. Like your issue is
Yeah.
looking right back at you.
Yeah.
You need to work on you. At this
Yep.
point in my life, I was 300 pounds. I was super unhealthy. I was pre-diabetic. I
Oh,
was
wow.
miserable. I was successful in life with my family
Mhm.
and by all my standards and successful in business, but individually I was miserable. I was a
Yeah.
miserable person. And but that was because of me. And I found that through prayer and I found that through asking and surrendering and asking for some guidance and some help because I couldn't do it. It was just too much for me. And she didn't know
Yeah.
how to help 'cause she didn't know what I needed until I
Right.
started communicating with her. These are the things I need. Can you help me with this? All I had to do was ask. Just never asked, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story. Thanks so much for sharing that. Because the journey of healing and entrepreneurship and relationships, it's all interconnected. So obviously you found where you needed to work on yourself in order to improve the whole system.
Right.
So,
That's
and I,
actually where it
yeah,
started. That
yeah,
was the beginning of relationship with myself, relationship with God, relationship with her, poured into my relationship with my business, money, employees, and which is why we're such huge advocates and um, why we train so much on relational leadership, because I feel like you can understand skills and you can understand systems and you can understand processes, but if you don't understand how to be the person you need to
Mhm.
be to actually implement those, you're going to fail still yet. And so that
Yeah.
comes through relational leadership and having and understanding yourself and understanding each other and understanding the people around you and where to meet them where they're at. It's just difficult if you don't understand how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'd actually love for you to just talk about your business actually just a little bit more and um, what that looks like a little bit when if someone were to join your program, kind of what are you trying to help them establish in their business and in their families?
Sure. So, because of our journey of entrepreneurship, through all that and like everything we've explained up to this
Mhm.
point, we realized that there was a necessity in business for people to understand how connection builds business. And
Yeah.
so basically the Limitless Vitality Group was founded for the development and preservation of relationships in your life. That is the mission statement for that business. And people are like, okay, so like husbands and wives, what if I'm not married? And I'm like, no, 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 no. I said relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships literally just mean to relate to something. That's the relation to something.
Yeah.
So, what's your relationship with your health? What's your relationship with your past? Like, how does that dictate who you are today and how you act? What's your relationship with success or imposter syndrome, as people tend to have, you know?
Mhm.
What's your relationship with your parents, your relationship with God? What does all of that look like? Because those relationships are who forming who you are today. It's also going to form
Yeah.
your future. So, um, the Limitless Vitality Group, Shelly and I work with couplepreneurs mainly, executives. We work a lot with people in high pressure situations because that's what we know how to work through. We know how to work through the high pressure situations. And I think that if people understand that we're given the weight that we can bear and how to work through that, you'll understand that the success is absolutely on the other side of it. But you
Yeah.
can't have it
Yeah.
unless you go through it. What happens
Mhm.
is it breaks people.
Yeah.
And for those of us that it hasn't broke and we've made it to the other side to
Mhm.
see, we fully understand. But there's so
Yeah.
many people that are here on the cusp of that are going through it that don't know if this is the time to quit, time to fold, time to end their life. There is a lot of situations we have dealt
Mhm.
with where people just,
Wow.
you don't always know what's going on in people's heads until they reach out and they talk to you and you're like, hold on a second. Like you're going through everything you're supposed to go through. Let me tell you why I know this, right?
Yeah.
And so we developed that company because there's a lot of relationships. If you look statistically at marriages, you're looking at a 50% plus divorce rate just normally. When
Right.
you compound business and the stresses of finances mainly on top of that, it exacerbates that probably another 50%. So, I mean, like it's almost inevitable that at some point in time through that stressful environment, that it's going to cause enough, we call it
Yeah.
death by a thousand paper cuts. It's going to
Oh,
cause
yeah.
enough damage that you're going to hemorrhage out eventually because you're too busy cutting and not doing any repair work whatsoever. And that repair work might need to be in you. I mean, you probably understand this very, very much. I'm speaking
Yeah.
your language, I'm sure. Um,
Definitely.
but through our trials and tribulations and from our clarity that we've received, and what's crazy about it is like as we developed this company and as we started late, like we literally had to for months and months and months, I'd be like, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's the most important out of these two? Or what do you think about this study that I read? The Gottman Institute put this out. What do you think about this? Like, I wanted to know what her point of view actually was on these things to see how they lined up with mine because the only way that this was working like it was is because we were lined up. We were synced up in a way that I didn't know we were. Once I
Wow.
started taking all that information and running it through what's statistically been shown, I was seeing some commonalities. So I mapped it all out. I blueprinted it all out. I was like, okay, I'm seeing that all of these things that we say are good and all these things that are bad, they fall under these core categories. This is how it breaks down. So we broke it all down. And then we went through, we spent a whole nother year filming modules. And then we built a whole manual that people can sit down and go through every one of these categories when they're having an issue in that area. And they can just be like, it's PowerPoint presentations, it's everything. And then from that, we went ahead and started doing one-on-one mentoring and coaching for people because, like I said before, everybody has such an individual story and an individual like their
Yeah.
whole past is dictating where
Yeah.
they're at today. And so I'd like to say, hey, over here I worked with this guy and this is what we did with him, but that doesn't always work for the next person. Like I have to know all the foundational
Yeah.
principles that have brought you to where you're at today to be able to work with you in a way that's going to be effective, that's going to be transformative. Because ultimately, I just want to see that the things that we teach you get put into play and then they impact your life and they change the people around you. That's all I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, that sounds so amazing and so needed for sure. Just, I mean, everybody needs that. Everyone should go through that course if they're going to get married. It should be
Right.
premarital course.
Uh,
I love it. Yeah, just so amazing. So how can the audience find you? Like some places they can find you. And I know that you have something awesome to share with the audience too.
Yes, so you can find us. We do have a website. It's www.thelimitlessvitalitygroup.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Instagram. We have a bunch of free content out on Instagram. I think there's over 500 videos out there and reels and stuff that we do, just explaining different concepts and different ideologies and stuff for people to kind of ponder on. That would be under Bobby Guiney at Instagram. We're at Facebook, same thing. You can look us up at Limitless Vitality Group on Instagram or Bobby Guiney. I'm sorry, Instagram on Facebook, and also Bobby Guiney on Facebook. So we're on all three of those platforms. But the website probably has the most extensive information on it because that's really what breaks down what we offer, what we're all about. You get to know us a little bit more from there. And if you go to the contact page on there, there's like 3 questions that ask you. If you fill that out and you send that to me, it will send you a 20-minute video on inconvenience in business and how you show up during inconvenience. We found that to be one of the most important things in business was because business is inconvenient. It's stressful. It
Yeah.
just is. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody tells you. They're lying to you if they tell you that it's not
You're
difficult. It's
right. Yeah.
absolutely difficult. It comes with the territory.
Mhm.
But how you show up when that gets hard is going to shape and mold how the rest of your entrepreneurial journey is going to go. So it's just a
Yeah.
video that we send out to everybody. It'll go right to your email and you can watch it at your own pace. But it is
Yeah.
it's basically an introduction to kind of what we're all about and how we show up during inconvenience that's helped us to get to where we have 23 years later and 7 businesses later and 4 children later and everything we still go through. So
Yeah, that makes so much sense because what you said earlier, it's like your breakthrough is just right on the other side of that hard time, right? So how you handle that, how you step up and move through that is what can just change everything for you. So absolutely grab that, everybody. The link is right below this video that will take you directly to that page. And it's also in the email that I sent you earlier today. So check it out. It's going to be life-changing for you because how you handle those hard times is going to be how you're going to be able to handle the rest of your life and the success that God is able to bring into your experience. So thank you so much for being here today. This has been amazing. I just absolutely love it. I love you too. You just have such a vibrant, fun energy. I love that you're a power couple working together. And this was a really unique interview for the show. And I just love that we got to share with the audience the perspective of a couple that works together because that's huge. And I think it's amazing. And a lot of people want to or try, but it's not always easy. So we need help. We need
it's
help with
not
that.
easy, but I will tell you it's very gratifying if you can get it
Yeah.
right. When you
Yeah.
understand how to do it, it's very, very rewarding.
Yeah.
Because you're spending life with these people. So when people are like with each other, it's not just these people, it's me too, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so but if I'm like I spend all day with them and it's just I need some space. When people say that, I have a lot of questions because I don't want
Right.
space. Space is what
Right.
causes an issue for us. Now
Yeah.
I know we do need time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody needs a minute, right? But we enjoy each other's company very, very much. And because
Yeah.
we understand how to leverage each other in all those different ways, we always say we can have bad days, but we just can't have a bad day on the same day. So we try to work it
Yeah.
out. So
That might bring complete destruction to the system. You guys both fall down, the house will fall. Yeah, I mean, that's so true. I think God brings people together because they complement each other. And like, you said, Shelly, you have your lane, he has his lane, and they work together as a
They
team.
work together.
So,
Yeah.
and yes, not everyone has to be in business together, but like you said earlier, know how you're going to be able to support each other so you still can have that working system. So,
Right.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Again,
Yep.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
being on the show. It's just been a pleasure having you. So, everybody, again, check that link and go get that amazing video to help you get through those challenging times in your business. So, I'm just going to end by saying, remember, you're blessed to build, called to serve, and grace to prosper. Spend time with God, spend time with God and allow him to help you, get through the tough times, and so that he can just unleash his favor onto you and you can just step into your calling. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.